Thank you very much. Welcome to our meeting. Today we have a wonderful panel discussion on self-advocacy presented by our special education PTA in Redwood City. A little bit about us. We are SEPTAR, and currently we have 7 people on our executive board. My name is Elena Levina. I'm the president of SEPTAR, and I have 2 kids in the school district. My son there, you see in the picture, he's in 1st grade at Clifford, and he has developmental disabilities. And I can pass it on to other board members to introduce themselves. Michelle?
Hi, my name is Michelle Giliardi. I'm the secretary of SEPTAR. I have 2 kids. One is at Roosevelt in Redwood City School District. He has Angelman syndrome, and I also have a 17-year-old senior graduating from Sequoia High School. He's in their ILS program. He also has Angelman syndrome. He'll be going to an adult transition program in fall.
Thank you.
Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm the treasurer of SEPTAR. I have 2 kids in RCSD. My daughter Samantha and my son Andrew, who are both at Clifford in 1st and TK respectively. Andy has multiple disabilities. Alejandrina, I think, is next.
Hola, mi nombre es Alejandrina. Yo también tengo 2 niños. Uno ya tiene 11 añitos. La niña tiene 7. Ella está en 1er grado en Orion.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alejandrina. I also have 2 children. One is 11 years old. My daughter is 7, and she attends Orion.
Thank you. Amanda? I saw Amanda coming in. So she's here. Yeah, I see her.
Maybe she's not able to open her mic right now.
Maybe not. Okay. I'm not sure if Maria's here today or not. I don't see Maria. Okay.
Allison is here.
Oh, Allison.
Hello.
Hi, you want to
I'm
introduce
Allison.
yourself?
I teach the Extensive Support Learning Center at Roosevelt for 1st to 3rd grade.
Thank you. Allison is our teacher representative. Okay. A little bit about who we are. We were formed in 2007 as the first district-wide special education PTA in Redwood City. We organize educational workshops like this one today. We're gonna hopefully start enrichment program next year, working hard on putting this together. We collaborate on disability awareness events in the district, and we organize social family events. If you scan this code, you can join us. We always need members and looking for new members and active participants in our PTA. Here's a little bit about our mission, vision, and values. We strive to create more inclusive environments within our educational community. We assist families of students with disability as they navigate through the educational system. We build bridges between the general and special education communities in order to bring increased educational resources and opportunities for all students. And we partner with parents and educators as we advocate for improvements and equity in the special education system. I just wanted to give that overview for those who are joining us for the first time. Now, for today's presentation, we are very fortunate to have 4 self-advocates with us today, sharing their experience and answering our questions. I don't know, Sheraden, do you want to take over from here?
Sure, happy to. And when available, if you can take down your presentation and I'll pop ours up and we'll get started. Good evening, everybody. So glad to see you all. And I'll ask our SEPTAR colleagues after we finish a few slides, just to get us started with an introduction. I'm going to ask that you can pin our 4 self-advocate panelists professionals today. So that way, when we get to the panel portion, people have them pinned on their screen for better viewing. Okay, but first, let's kick off with a few slides to share what it is that we're talking about today. All right. So today we're talking a little bit about equitable and inclusive and accessible communities for all students. So that's a bit of the focus today. And thank you, SEPTAR, for involving the State Council, as well as some amazing self-advocate professionals in our community that are sharing their wisdom with us this evening. And for those of you less familiar with the State Council, just wanted to point out, we are a federally funded independent state agency, and we work directly with community members like you all, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, family advocates and allies, and professionals that serve people with disabilities all across the state. And we provide technical assistance, we provide capacity building projects and grant funding, and we provide systemic change and legislative change, all benefiting people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and cross-disability. And we wanted to kick off a little bit before we dive in, just to talk about the benefits of inclusion for all. And we don't need to tell you this, you all are partners with us in this important work. But for those that may be a little bit newer to the value of inclusion for all students in California, there's been quite a few studies, as well as some meta research as well. And just wanted to share a couple of commonly known outcomes of studies. And it's that students with disabilities who are fully included in education with the supports that they need have better outcomes in math and reading, fewer absences from school, fewer referrals for behavior needs, and more post-secondary opportunities and chances for employment. And students without disabilities who are taught alongside students with disabilities also have demonstrated comparable or greater gains in math and reading, reduced fear of differences in people, and increased comfort and awareness of differences, and growth in social cognition, self-esteem, principles, and caring friendships. And there's also, we won't go into the research, but there's also a 2018 report from the National Council on Disability regarding the segregation of students with disabilities. And it has statistics broken down by state for the rates of inclusion or segregation. And this was in 2018. In California, only 54% of students with disabilities spent 80% or more of the day in general education with whatever supports are needed. So only 7 states had lower inclusion rates at that time. So that just points out that there's a lot of work. We have to celebrate our wins, celebrate our successes, but recognizing that we have a lot more work to do together. And so what can we do to combat ableism and to increase inclusion and access, not just in school settings, but everywhere? We can make sure that we have education like tonight's session, and outreach on the values and the benefits of diversity. We can work towards ensuring representation at all levels, and especially in planning and positions of power. So anywhere where there's an advisory body, a board of directors, a committee, a council, any of that. We want to make sure that we are seeing the representation that's needed, including people with lived experience, people with disabilities, being able to lead and provide advice and guidance and counseling so that we can do better in all areas of leadership. And then there's systems change. So everything from policy change, law changes, or procedure change. So that can happen in a variety of levels. And then making sure that we're, clear about how we can support one another in access work. And just to wrap us up here, for additional things that we can do around inclusion and access, make inclusivity and access a part of every project from the start. We've talked, I think, before about different tools like plain language and accessibility checks for greater access and equity, being open and curious, taking time to ask people about what their access needs are and how that can be met, not making assumptions or feeling like you have to know how to make something accessible for others, because everyone is different, and making inclusivity and access a part of every registration for an event or activity, finding multiple ways to get the word out and to for people to give feedback about how they can get their access needs met, and being intentional and prioritizing on-site accessibility at events, whether those are virtual or in person, and making sure that there's someone that can support people the day of the event. And important to know that it can't be an afterthought. It's really important that people think from the get-go about access and inclusion and allocate both the time and the labor or the focus, as well as the budget on access and inclusion work. And then lastly, just wanted to share, these are the regional offices of the State Council. So I think all of us here are in the Redwood City area, here in the Bay Area. But in case we have people joining elsewhere, please, let us know. We're happy to connect you with the State Council office nearest you for us to talk a little bit more about how we can support your inclusion and access priorities in the important work that you do. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer over. I'm going to take down these slides. We'll pin our panelists and have a wonderful discussion, starting with some introductions. But let me get this off of everybody's screen here. Okay, great. So let's see, can we have, I can help SEPTAR colleagues, can we pin our 4 panelists for easier viewing or spotlight?
I'm trying to do that. Am I doing it?
Let's see here. Maybe what I'll ask, ask for is for the panel session, if attendees can turn off their camera, and that way it's easy for us to find the speakers who are talking. How about that? If we don't have the spotlight function, is that okay?
So does it function right now, or is it just for me?
Just for you, I think. Yeah.
How do I make it for everyone?
So right click and it may not, you may not have it in your settings at the moment. We won't take up too much time. If you right click on a participants list. Oh, okay, there we go. So now if you can add, I see Rebecca, there we go. All right, hi Audrua.
Thank you.
All right, hey Alex.
All right.
And one more.
You're doing it.
There we go. There's our team. Excellent.
And then you as well, right?
Oh, you don't need me up there.
Yes, you are.
Hey, team. Great. So let's have a great discussion. And SEPTAR team, we'll do introductions first. We'll take turns with introductions. And then do you want to ask the questions that you had targeted, or would you like me to? And then we'll open it up for Q&A. How would you like to roll that? If you're not sure, I can ask the questions, no problem.
You're welcome to ask the questions that SEPTAR put together.
Yes.
And then maybe afterwards we open to the entire audience.
Sounds excellent. Sounds excellent. All right. So esteemed panelists, who wants to kick us off with a short introduction, a little bit about you, your leadership and advocacy roles, your paid work roles, volunteer roles, and just a little bit about how you became the advocate that you are today? Who wants to kick us off?
I will.
Awesome. Thanks, Audra.
You're welcome. My name is Audrua Sysum. I am from Teachers Connection in Antioch, California. I've been an advocate since, as if I can remember, since school age. I did a lot of rallies and the day program. I pretty much did, we went to Sacramento, we would do the help pass bills, and we did pass a bill for exiting a state health a mental hospital. I don't remember the name of it, but we did get a pass, so they're a little bit better by coming out of the state hospitals and coming into the community to be part of our community. We did
The closure, was that the closure of the developmental centers, Audra?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were protesting and gave testimony to close developmental centers so that people could live in the community?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And then I did a die-in, which is you basically you lay on the ground now and you protest. We are here. We're not going anywhere. If you want us to pass away, we're gonna pass away here, and then not having the help we need to be included in the community.
A die-in for community inclusion. Yeah, I'm sure there's some people that have joined us this evening that have never been to a die-in before, but it's a critical tool in terms of protest and rights securement. Think about the 504 sit-ins in San Francisco at the federal building, ADA, when the ADA was in the process of passing. So die-in is a wonderful tool. You've done it all, it sounds like.
We did one where we had a person who is not with us anymore that had dental care. We went to San Francisco. We fight for the dental, I forgot the name of the dental, but they didn't have any dental to go get teeth cleaned or anything. So we fight for more dental help and doctor help. They help them get what they need to get help.
Fighting for accessible dental services for people with disabilities that might need desensitization or might need sedation dentistry.
Yes.
Powerful.
We did a lot. I mean, I can't name. I don't remember everything, but I remember those type of things that we did that really impact me to fight more now than ever. I am a disabled advocate. I am working with my boss. At the time it wasn't a money thing, but now I'm working on getting paid to do advocacy, but in the beginning it wasn't paid, it was a volunteer. And I didn't care. I wanted to volunteer and help the people who can't speak for themselves, help them speak for them in their way. I will read I will read impact statements for people who can't be there. I read so many impact statements that I actually cried reading it because it made me think, oh, okay, we need it. Even though I don't need it, someone else does. Someone needs it more than me do. I do.
Sounds good. Well, we're going to ask you more about those experiences, but let's move on to other intros. And thank you. That's Audrua Sysum, advocate with Futures Connections. So who wants to do intros next?
I'll go next. My name is Corbett. I'm also part of Futures Connections in Antioch. Along with what Audra said about the die-ins and sit-ins and a bunch of rallies that we've done in Sacramento and Concord and Oakland, whether it had to deal with the local legislators or even state legislators. We've talked to them, we've fought against bills. I've literally been an advocate since I actually been a child, and actually helped advocate for my sisters to help themselves advocate for themselves in different situations, whether it was school or even their own day programs, and speak up for themselves.
And you're also a member of the East Bay Legislative Coalition, right?
Yes, East Bay Legislative Coalition, plus also the Developmental Disabilities Council. I was part of it for a short time, even during COVID.
Nice, thank
which
you.
was interesting.
Oh,
Doing
gosh.
that over Zoom.
Advocacy during the pandemic. A whole new
Never
flavor of
stopped.
advocacy, right?
Yep, never stopped.
Yeah, thank you. That's Rebecca Corbett from East Bay Legislative Coalition and Futures Connections. All right, Alex, let's kick it over to you.
Thank you, Sheraden. So my name is Alex Madrid. A little bit about me is that I I've been a self-advocate since I would say I started when I was in college. I went to Berkeley. I graduated at Cal, and and so after that I've been doing advocacy since then. I I right now I'm a housing specialist at Golden Gate Media Center. I'm sure most of you guys familiar on our work. Before that, I was working at Center for Independence in Cemetery as a housing specialist doing help people understand the public benefits, helping them understand the rights on housing needs, helping them access Social Security, SSI, assisted, fish, and so that's about paid jobs. Now I have been involved on non-paid volunteer work in San Francisco and San Mateo. Let me
So
start.
non-paid jobs in San Francisco and San Mateo. Your paid jobs you just finished telling us were at Center for Independence of People with Disabilities and Golden Gate Regional Center, both doing housing specialty work. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Tell us about those non-paid jobs that are also quite important.
So with non-paid jobs, advocacy work in San Francisco, I'm on San Francisco Mayor's on Disability Council. We advocate on accessibility around people with disability in San Francisco. We advise the city and departments on how to change the policies, the procedures, and advise the mayors when it comes to accessibility and disability related issue, and in some material, I'm very involved on some trans citizen of advisory.
The Samtrans Citizens Advisory
Uh,
Body.
yes,
Yeah, is it
the
a committee or a council?
committee.
A committee.
They advise some trans how to do better on um, um, public transportation when it comes to some trans things like that. And I also a member of some material measure W um, um, task force, which is a committee that relates to uh, funds on transportation and of course with my disability I'm very interested in advocating on higher transit accessibility on and program accessibility when it comes to some trans aspect. So that's a little bit about me, and now I'm passing to Elizabeth.
Wow. So that was Alex Madrid, housing specialist. But we also heard about his advocacy with independent living centers and with Social Security and with transportation and. Awesome. And thanks for passing it over to Elizabeth. And hi, Elizabeth. Take it away for your intro.
Hi. Thank you, Alex. I'm Elizabeth Grigsby. I'm a rights advocate, also for going to get regional center. Me and Alex are colleagues, and I'm the chairperson for our local state council on developmental disability. But before that, I've done a lot of advocacy in my own life about advocating where I wanted to live right out of high school. I knew that I wanted to live in my own apartment. And I knew that I wanted to support living. And with the help of, you guys might not remember, but Area Board 5, it was a really great lady by the name of Rosie Smith who gave me the courage to be like, you can make it on your own despite your disability, and you can live in your own apartment. So she believed in me, which made me believe in myself. So with the help of Rosie and Area Board 5, I'm happy to say I've been living on my own since I was 21, and now I'm 53. So we're all making a big wave in our lives. Thank you for having us here tonight.
Thank you. That's Elizabeth Grigsby, Rights Advocate at Golden Gate Regional Center and State Council Regional Advisory Committee Chairperson. Great, thanks everybody. That was terrific. That was a great intro. So let's go ahead and jump in to some of the areas of interest for SEPTAR. So let's start by going way back. Think about your early school experiences. So SEPTAR wants to know about your actual school experiences. Were you in general education? Were you included with general education, or were you segregated in your school years? And how did that, either way, how did that impact you as a young student? Who wants to kick this off?
I would like to kick it off. I can say that my early school experience was what I would call very helpful. It was a special school called Sunshine for Disabled Children, but the school was very unique. Even though we had disabilities, the teachers and therapists didn't treat us like we had disabilities. They were like, if you want something, you gotta get it yourself. We're not here to baby you. We're here to help you become independent. So they challenged us. If I wanted to eat lunch, the occupational therapist made me pick up the school and feed myself. And she knew I could do it. At first I thought she was mean, because my thought was, I'm disabled. You're gonna make me struggle and pick up the school when I'm hungry. But looking back on it, it was the best thing ever that she taught me that I was capable of doing a lot for myself. And I always carry that attitude within me.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Who else wants to share about their early school experiences regarding segregation or inclusion?
I would go with Sharon. So my thing was so different than anyway. I was in regular school until I went to high school. Then they put me not as special ed, but another special ed class. But when I was a kid, they really made me work for what I need to do, like what I was saying. So I had to work too. But I remember, I don't remember, I think I was fifth grade. There was a little boy that came into, I want to say kindergarten or preschool, I don't remember, but they asked me to come in and talk about disabilities because he had a disability. I don't remember the disability he had, but I came into the class with my wheelchair and they were asking me questions like, do you push yourself? Do you do this? And then we introduced the kid with me so they got to see, okay, there is more to just being regular kids. They they have a disability too. So at that time I really was and that sort of thing was I kind of advocate for him too, in a way like, hey, we do have, we are people, we do have, we want to learn too, and we, so when I was a kid, I was not in a special ed at all until I got into the upper age. Then I kind of got into the special ed situation, but I learned that there are people who don't know to act around a disabled person, and I kind of had that issue in a little bit of it. When it came to PE, I had special PE. I had speech therapist. I think that was it. There's PE and social and resource class, but I pretty much had a regular um um like a regular school at that young age. So that's pretty much that's all I can remember, but
Thank you. Thank you. Alex, let's go to you. What was your early school experience like? Were you included in general education or segregated?
So, so I, I came to America from Philippines in 1996 when I was 14 and I did not know any English at all. I went to San Francisco Unified School District, the discipline test, and um, I went to special education department that did the test, and I ended up going to a special ed class in middle school. I didn't know what to expect because one, I did not know any English, and I just don't know how to um to expect at the time. So couple months and did I was how can I say this? I was asking the teachers, what's the homework? Why are we going out to the community every day? Um, and then what's I didn't know what's going on, and um, it's I remember at the time I was about 2 months in, and I had to tell them, look, I'm not learning anything. I'm not. I'm just watching TV all the time to go out to the community shopping, and then I come home and um luckily we had someone from uni- UCP at the
University of the Pacific?
yeah,
Yeah.
in San Francisco, and she speaks Tagalog, and she luckily explained to my family the system work, and she helped us as a special education department to send someone to do a reassessment for me. I remember those that it took me about couple of days to do those tests, and they did math, English, whatever writing, and likely it turned out that that they found out that I supposed to be in extreme classes.
Say that again?
I still ended up finding out that I belong to the extreme classes.
Extreme?
I couldn't pronounce the term in the regular classes.
Severe? Was it the term severe?
Mainstream.
Mainstream. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mainstream, thank
So
you.
they decided then after the reassessment that you belonged to mainstream. They wanted to be mainstream. And I'm sure some of that had to do with the advocacy that you got from the Tagalog speaking advocate, right? That was able to coach you and your parents, explain how special education works and what your educational rights were.
Exactly.
Your native language.
So
yeah.
they had a plan of a couple months to transition me to the mainstream classes, and it turned out that there's so much work that needs to be done because of I'm a little bit behind after that. So I ended up going to high school in San Francisco with the mainstream classes, and I'm lucky enough, on my opinion, to have very strong advocate with counselor inclusion teacher to figure out what is it that I need to learn and what I needed to improve on my English. Mind you, I did not know any English at all. I had to learn it in the hard way, like um, English second language classes, watching TV cartoons, things like that, tutoring, and she helped me see that even though I have disability, I can do so many things like going to clubs during lunch time, and to fish trips, things like that. So I, I I'm happy to say in high school I ended up in I'm not sure if they call it different than a gate program, which they have sent people all classes from secondary to senior year, and in senior year, I remember during an English class that uh, Channel 4 having this contest of essay contest.
You said channel 4 had an essay contest?
Yes. Wendy Tukuta. I'm not sure if you guys familiar. The recipe called Reading the Odds.
You said breaking the ice?
beating the odds.
Beating the
Beating
odds.
the odds.
Beating the odds. Thank you.
So, and so I ended up winning that
Oh man.
and they had to come into my high school and to the inclusion teachers and luckily she my inclusion teacher really pushed me to apply for colleges and give me that options that college is a way to go and I was hearing about this bakery and I'm like, oh, let me check that out and luckily I, I got accepted at Kyle and now it took me about some time to come, but with support and really that advocacy from high school age really helped me shape on my, I would say, career. And of course, there's some um, I don't all the way, but overall, I think I turned out to be okay.
More than okay. Yeah, thank you. Rebecca, how about you? What was your school experience in terms of included, segregated, combination? Share some experiences with us.
Sure. So I actually had 4 heart surgeries when I was a baby. And then in middle school, I had back surgery. So I had to deal with occupational therapy and speech therapy in elementary to the beginning part of middle school. Unlike my sisters who dealt with the special ed classes throughout their entire school, I was pretty much treated like a normal student who didn't have like any disabilities. I didn't even know I was even diagnosed with a disability until I was in my 20s. And PE, but I in middle school I actually got to help.
Rebecca, you're freezing a little bit on my end.
Be with
Are other people hearing
students.
that?
Yes, I am too.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is being crazy right now. Sorry.
Okay, you sound
My
better
Wi-Fi
right
is being
now.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
repeat the last part of what you shared.
Okay, so I was basically treated like a normal student throughout my elementary years, doing drama. Basically, I was in music classes, I was in chorus, but I did have some bullying, unfortunately, because of my family and also because of the way I dressed and stuff like that. But in middle school and high school, middle school, I actually had the opportunity of being a TA for people that were in wheelchairs. And that was actually a good experience for me to actually be able to get out in the community with people that are in wheelchairs, have them experience the other people in the outside world, being out in the playground, being out in parks, feeding them, reading to them. So I've been around people with various disabilities throughout my entire life. So I've never had an issue with adapting to people with different disabilities. So I just felt like a normal student until I was in my 20s when I was diagnosed with a disability.
Yeah, nice. So we just heard such diversity of experiences between the four of you, but some of the common trends were peer support, right? And peer collaboration for inclusion, being challenged, being pushed, people having high expectations of you, ensuring that language access is evaluated and understood, because we know that students that benefit from special education needs that also are ESL students or students that are learning English, having to really make sure they get that support that they need to be challenged and to get the support as they learn English, and making sure that their families have access to rights information in their native language, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and it sounds like lots of community experiences, so both in the classroom and out of the classroom. Yeah. So let's talk about IEPs now. So thinking back, and obviously that was quite a long time ago, right? But do you recall, were you always involved in your IEP meetings, sometimes involved, or never involved in your IEP meetings? And what, like, how were you included? How was that for you in IEP meetings?
I would
No.
like to start with the in junior high, a little bit in elementary too. It was weird because you think the teachers would say, it's okay, you don't have to be in there. But my teachers always wanted me to be a part of my IBP. Strangely enough, it was my foster mom who didn't want me to be a part of my IEP because she thought the teachers were filling my head with all this stuff about how independent I could be. And she was afraid of losing me or thinking that I wouldn't need her anymore. So I hear a lot of people with disabilities had different experience in the school, but for me, I enjoy being at the school more so than I did at home. So at 3 o'clock, when we all had to catch the school bus, I would try to hide in the classroom so I could stay longer with my teachers, because they see me as a smart, intelligent individual. So they see me as a real person. Whereas if I was home, my family would tell me in so many words that I was a burden that they had to lift me and take care of. So
Wow.
of school.
That's some deep dynamics right there, right? I think a lot of us can think of situations where you have family members that are pushing and advocating and, you know, want you involved in your education, but it was opposite. You were getting most of your support and encouragement and challenge from the teachers that saw your potential and challenged you, and you shared at home. Your foster parents, your foster parent, in so many ways subtly had you felt like you were a burden or that you had to be taken care of. So, and that started early on for you, right? So you kind of found your freedom and your, you know, found your dreams and your goals of what you wanted to do being at school and working with educators, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Powerful. Who else wants to share about if they were involved in their IEP meetings or not, and what was that like?
I will go. Go ahead.
We'll do Alex and then Audra.
Thank you. So, it's, I would say it's similar to Elizabeth, that my experience that, I think with immigrant parents, they didn't know the concept of IEP or why we having this. They thought that it's I'm in trouble or things like that. And like I said before, I'm so happy enough. I'm so lucky enough that my inclusion teacher is so strong advocate with me or for me that she always say, you know what, Alex, you're gonna be 18, you need to start asking yourself and thinking about what is it that you want in life, because yes, we're gonna be here, your parents are gonna be here, but automatically you're gonna be the one that decide what's gonna happen in your life, and and she gave me what I felt at my first IEP in high school. It was scary because I had my physical therapy, my occupational therapist, my speech therapist in the room, and gonna figure out what Alex needs and
It
Alex.
can be intimidating, right?
Yeah.
To have all
So,
those teachers and therapists and specialists in the room, right?
like talking about me and wants to do like what they think the best for me, and like talk think about now about patient-centered approach that I think my at the time long time ago we didn't know about it, but my inclusion teacher asking, okay, that's fine, but let us ask Alex, what is this goal and wants, and how can we integrate that into our plans? And I think it makes it a team effort and more about me, yes, to have their own plan, but integrating on my interests. And because like I said, I have similar experiences with Elizabeth, that some of my family members didn't know that I can finish high school or even get into to college, and because it was a it was I was as a new son to them. So and it's it's a lot of learning and education that my inclusion teacher has to do to my parents and to me, because I had to sometimes explain it to my parents what people saying from English to Tagalog,
Yeah.
and then
You probably ended up doing some interpretation, right, for
yeah,
family members over time.
yeah,
So it sounds like a big key for you, Alex, was that early on you had educators and specialists in your IEP meetings practicing person-centeredness, is what you shared, a person-centered approach.
yes,
And doing that and getting in the habit of taking a person-centered approach, whether it's an IEP meeting or a family meeting at home, makes a real difference. And I've seen you in action at work, and you use those skills now. You have a person-centered approach when you're working with, you know, other individuals or their family members to kind of pinpoint, like, okay, what does this person need to be successful? What supports? But you got to start with, what are their dreams, their goals, their strengths, their likes? Start there. Start
yeah,
strengths-based, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Audra, jump in there. What was your IEP experience?
So I was kind of like there, but not. They really didn't ask me, Audra, what you want to do in the future. It was basically, this is what she's gonna do. This is what we think she needs to do, but it was never, hey Audra, what you want to do. It was never that. It was like, she's gonna do this and this. But in reality, you never asked me, did you want to do this or did you want to do that? It was basically, this is what she's gonna do, like it or not. So I never had that included, like Alex and people that I didn't have that. It was, she's gonna do this, she's gonna do that. But it was never asked, hey, Audra, what you want to do? So that was kind of my thing in the IPP thing.
Wow. So you were physically there, but you weren't engaged, right? You weren't
Yeah,
at the center of your IEP work or your
no,
IEP work later
I
on.
was just
You were
there.
just physically there. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
wasn't until later in your life that you got to experience a more person-centered approach.
It was in when my first ISP and program that really got me. I do what you want to do. This is, we have goals we want to have you meet.
As an adult in your day
Yeah,
services? So
yeah,
it wasn't until you were in day program as an adult that people started engaging and asking you about your goals and took a
yeah,
person-centered approach? Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that first my first ISP was, hey Audra, what do you want to do? What would you like to do?
An
And
ISP, for those that don't know, is an individualized service plan. So it's different than an IEP, different than an IPP, but an ISP typically takes place at a service provider level. So it's an adult service provider working with Audra was the first entity that actually did some person-centered planning activities, it sounded like. So that's a long time to wait for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so my goals were going with friends by myself, but being a program staff there. Like if I go to Target, I gotta have to meet my friend, meet my friend, and then go to Target, and then meet the staff, or go to Bart and meet my friends at Bart, go on Bart by myself with my friends, than be the staff. So that was a pretty much like, oh, I have
A
I
say in
have
what goes on.
a thing, yes, I have goals that I want to meet. Say I want to go to Walnut Creek or wherever, but I have the goal to do it with a friend, not independent by myself, but with a friend. So that was kind of cool.
Sounds like it. Thank you. How about you, Rebecca? What was your IEP experience?
So interestingly enough, as I mentioned, that I had speech therapy and adaptive PE because of my surgeries, I actually got to say when I wanted to stop doing the speech therapy, when I wanted to do the stop doing the adaptive PE, I actually got to say, okay, I think I'm good. I'm going to do my regular classes and let's see how I do. I basically, my family was behind me the entire time. They never pushed me too hard. They never said, oh, you're going to do this. No, that was all my decision from the very beginning. I basically had to fight for my life, fight for what I wanted from the very beginning of fighting for my life, from my heart surgeries and every step of the way throughout my adult life. It's been me fighting for myself and fighting for others. Even though I've had people backing me up saying, you can do this, it's kind of been my own encouragement of, let me see how far I can push myself with people behind me, but let me see how far I can do this. So I got to speak on my own behalf of when I wanted to stop doing certain things.
Wow. And that's big decisions. I mean, at that young age, right? To make those decisions and get guidance from others about what they think, but ultimately you being the decision maker there. Yeah.
Can I add to that? While Rebecca was talking, I remember my mom until now, she always, every time I want to do something, she never asks me what I want to do. Is she always say, how you gonna do it?
Nice.
Because she always reminds me that look, you have limitation, disability, you might have to do differently. You have to start thinking how you gonna do it for yourself and what are the things that you can ask someone to help you with it. Ask them exactly how you gonna help, how they gonna help you. So I just want to add to that.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. The thought of like, don't ask, if you can do it, ask how are you going to do it and who can help you, who has ideas about how to get it done. Because that's a skill set that you use and it's an adult, right? As an adult, so much of life is figuring out, okay, how am I going to do what I want? And it may not look the way that somebody else is doing it. It may take more supports or different supports. It may take longer. It might take a workaround or adaptations. But start asking the how instead of just like, oh, I guess I can't, right? Or the way that I'm going to be able to do it doesn't look like other people, so maybe it's not for me. Yeah.
When I got in my 20s, I got tired of hearing, oh, you have cerebral palsy, you can't do this, you're gonna get hurt. I was up for challenge. People who know me, I like challenges. I like when you say, I can't do something. I laugh at that because I'm gonna prove you're wrong. and I'm gonna have to laugh. Well, people told me I wouldn't be able to have a job. People told me I wouldn't be able to live on my own. People told me I wouldn't be able to run groups. I'm doing all that. I'm a chairperson. I'm a facilitator with people first. And I do have a job and I do live on my own. So we are up here. We all are living through. Just because we have disabilities doesn't mean we can't have a life like everyone else. Don't put us in the box. Because we just have to prove you wrong. And you guys can be our ally by telling your students that they can do anything that they put their mind to.
Thank you for that. And so let's see, so far I'm looking at the time. I think I want to turn this over to the audience to see what other targeted questions they have. Because you've talked to us about your school experience, inclusion, segregation, navigating your IEP meetings. We talked about your jobs, volunteer jobs, internships, paid jobs, kind of, you know, how you built your advocacy careers. Yeah, let's see what our audience here has questions for. If folks want to raise their hands, I'm taking a look. And if no one has any questions, I can ask other questions, but I wanted to give a chance for our community members and SEPTAR partners and guests to have a chance to ask questions.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. We only bite sometimes. But this is over Zoom, so everyone's safe. Yeah. Okay, I don't see any hands. Going once. Going twice. Oh, I see a in the camera hand. Katie. There we go. Have at it.
So sorry if there's lots of noise, but my question was, I know there was mention of when there was more of that inclusion available, that sometimes people without disabilities were potentially you know, unsure or not knowing how to interact, and if there's I guess any advice or things that you suggest to get if our students are in mixed scenarios, what ways can we help get I guess more interaction and less fear, if that makes sense.
How do you boost interactions and decrease fear for inclusive activities, whether that's in the classroom, outside of the classroom? Yeah, I think I saw Audrua, I saw you talking first. Let's go Audrua and then Alex and then see about our other panelists here.
So basically I was gonna say is the non-disabled people, they should be open to come and talk to the disability person and involve them in activities, could make PE and FE, make any kind of activity. It could be reading a book, it could be just playing a game, it could be just anything that they want, and just think in them in their mind. Okay, yeah, they have a disability, so maybe take an extra caution. Okay, they need more time to look at the book and read read a paragraph. To take the time and interact with them. Don't be fearful. Don't be scared to come up to any disabled person and say, "Hey, my name is so and so. What do you like to do? Oh, I like this. How about you? I like Harry Potter. How about you like anime? Whatever it is, connect them into what they like to do, or anything like that.
So
Just
finding
have,
shared interests. So
yes,
finding shared interests and then kind of like facilitating that connection, reassuring, right?
yeah,
Answering questions, hey,
yes,
Jose, this is Sandra, Sandra takes a little bit longer to read, and you guys both like Harry Potter, right? So let's have that conversation. So kind of
yeah,
facilitation and making it safe to ask questions and knowing what to expect in terms
yeah,
of differences, whether it's differences in communication or differences in behavior, right? Yeah. What
yeah.
about you, Alex? What do you think?
Totally agree with that because I remember, first of all, I lived with three amazing kids with my nephews and nieces, about which from 17 now up to 4 years old, and they grew up with me having physical disability, and believe it or not, they understand me more than some of my family members. So I think having that uh, encouragement of not being scared of asking to participate and 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 like what Audrey and Sheraden said, that facilitation of, hey, this is so and so, and be open of asking questions and not be scared of um the, the silence. The
Kind of
silence,
dispelling the mystery, right? Whether
yeah,
it's about how somebody's wheelchair works or,
exactly.
what their stimming looks like and why are
Yeah.
they stimming and what does it do for them and, like little things like that.
Exactly. I think having the I know that looking at people can be um scary or intimidating or offensive sometimes, but I think um nowadays those staring aspect can be a signs of communication that people are shy to ask questions, and I think having parents or um and especially with non-verbal kids, it's okay to be you start the conversation and start, hey, so this was her name. So breaking that ice and having start a um meaningful conversation is a good start. And let them know it's okay to ask questions.
Yeah. And understanding that meaningful conversations doesn't necessarily mean everybody's talking. It could be
Yeah.
with somebody who's talking. It could be somebody who's a non-speaker, or someone that uses an AAC device, or someone that maybe sometimes talks or is a little bit verbal, but maybe mostly is non-speaking. And just knowing like that that's okay, and having that flow of different kinds of communication. Yeah.
I remember back in my second year of high school, people, non-disabled people, always came up to me and asked, "What happened to you? Why are you in a wheelchair? Why are you like this?" And I got so tired of answering the same question. I made up a good story because I have kind of a dark, sadistic sense of humor.
Kinda? That's kind of an understatement, but okay.
Yeah. And I had fun with this one student. I told him I smoked a lot, and that's how I became disabled. And he believed me through the whole period. He was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." So if you ever go to a party, watch out. But at the end of lunchtime, I told him the truth, and I thought he was gonna be mad. He walked up to me and said, "That's the coolest story you."
You could have run your whole anti-smoking campaign of the 1980s, just you and you alone, huh?
Yeah. You just have to break it. That was my way of breaking ice, because we're no different than anybody else. We have desires like everyone else. We want real meaningful relationship. I was just talking to Alex today at our office, and we had a conversation, and we both were like, we just want to work until we can't work anymore. We want to have a house and a family. I want a partner. I hope to advocate to life to everybody with a disability is seen for their abilities, not their disability. I want everybody to be seen for what they bring to the table. And I have some real good people in my life. And it wasn't my family. Your real family doesn't have to be your family. You can make your family from whoever you meet along the way. And that's what I love about Self-Advocacy because I met Sheraden and we have a lifelong friendship.
Yeah, the value of chosen family, right? And collecting and molding your circle of support and having your circle of support grow with you as you grow. And that's a skill set, right? It's a skill set that the sooner that young kids can start to be involved in that, then they can be more in charge of that as they get older. To who are you choosing to be a part of your world? Who's important to you? Who treats you the way that you want to be treated? Yeah. Rebecca, we're going to wrap up now. I wanted to give you the last word if you wanted to share anything, Rebecca, about you know, on this topic around how to facilitate inclusion and help students with differences.
Also have some type of student peer support. Let's say someone who may have a disability is having some type of issue with another student, and it's someone who doesn't have a disability can actually help them kind of facilitate the conversation of, well, how do you want to solve this conversation, and kind of have peer support before it escalates to needing staff and principals and stuff, but have peer support so they can actually work together. People with disabilities and people without disabilities, they can actually interact and figure out and have some problem solving conclusions and work together on them.
Nice. Thank you for that. That's how we do it in real life, right? That's how we do it as adults.
Problem solving works together.
Got to do it together. Awesome. Well, I'm mindful of the time. I want to pass this back to our SEPTAR leads this evening. And I just want to share my gratitude and appreciation for the leadership here in the room. I'm so lucky to get to advocate with you side by side for us to learn, to push, to fight, to work towards a more equitable future for everybody. So Elizabeth, Alex, Audrua, Rebecca, thank you, colleagues. Thank you for being here and for sharing your wisdom, your expertise, and your hope for this next generation. It's exciting, right? We're going to watch some great things together.
Yep.
Back to you, SEPTAR.
Thank you so much, everyone. This was such an eye-opening to hear your experience, your lived experiences, and thank you so much for advocating for yourself and for other colleagues and for other people. We hope to have you back in the future. Thank you. It was great meeting you all. And I'm gonna share 2 more slides. Let's see. Do I have to unpin you? Or
I think it'll be fine if you share screen.
Okay. So for those in the audience, please join our small PTA. This is the code for to scan to join us. Our membership is helping us to hold meetings like today's meeting, and to pay for any fee that's we need to pay for events, for bringing people together, for speakers. Please join us. And another news that we would like to share is we're gonna hold elections this month and next month. So if you would like to join our team, please let us know. This is a Google form you can fill out. Maybe Michelle, could you post it in the chat? Or I can do that too. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to juggle many things. Okay, I'm gonna post this link in a chat. If you would like to be part of our team. And I can't find this anymore, sorry. Oh, here it is. Okay, Michelle posted it. Thank you, Michelle. And that's it for me. Thank you
I
so
just
much.
want to say
everyone.
thank you. I just want to say thank you to you, to your organization and citizens for inviting me for this amazing discussion, and please do not hesitate to return, and Sheraden has our contact, and please return if you have any more questions for us.
Thank you.
Can I ask if it's okay if we after our meetings we always send the link to the recording and any other like the slides. Is it okay if I would send all of your emails in the email to all the people who registered for the meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone okay with everybody?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's fine with me.
Okay, I'll do that. So everyone, if anyone wants to ask you any questions, we'll make sure that they have access to your emails. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, great. All right, we are just a little bit over time, not too bad. This is great. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful spring break if you have it. It's coming up. I hope to see you all again soon.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, SEPTAR team. Talk to you all again soon. Take care. Bye.
Hey.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Sheridan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Elizabeth. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna